So today, my friends, we continue with the story of Eden, and our topic would be adultery and the story of Eden are two primordial sins. So everybody is familiar with the primordial sin, turn out to be two primordial sin, and we'll discuss the two of them today and what the importance is. So if we go back to our story of Eden, and if you remember, as you read chapter 1, the flow of the story is that it comes to day 3. There is a pause in the middle of the day after the separation of dry land from the water, which would be the supercontinent, first supercontinent, before there was any life on earth. And the Torah says before there were even rain on earth. Certainly not atmosphere, nothing. No life. At that point, Elohim conducted a judgment. The judgment probably was, should I put life on, earth was stood on a crossroad. Should I put life on earth or not? This is really pivotal point. Now come chapter 2 in the story of Eden and tell us the detail of that crucial detrimental judgment on a Tuesday, as the Talmud said. So as the cherubs, when Hashem Elohim got together, they flew back over creation, as it says, from earth to heaven, backward. And for God, it's not a problem to do rewind, creation rewind. So they flew back, but now there's two attributes. And when the park, so to speak, on day 3, now they conduct their trial. And now we know what the trial was. What the trial was Eden. And the outcome of that trial was twofold. Either Adam wins, so it's easy trial, only one or two commandments as we're going to see. Only two commandments to win, to stand. Then his neshama is going upward to the Sabbath. If he fails, the neshama goes down to a human body on earth. So if he fails, then on Tuesday, the judge the Elohim now seed life on earth, and the whole evolution starts from Tuesday onward until man will finally appear in a natural way on day 6 and we are that result of that failure. So we are here on day 6 because Adam failed on Eden trial. So that makes sense, and it fits science. It doesn't negate science. But you have to put a perspective. This was a virtual trial in a virtual garden. Now, the question that I want to address today, if that's so, why do we need a story at all? Why does the Torah bother to tell us about that? And what is there any implication for the story to our life? What can we derive from that story for our days, for our time, for our life? It's not just a story a fairy tale story for kindergarten. It's for us to draw some conclusion, a Torah conclusion, moral conclusion. So what is the story all about? I hope that I would be able to address that question today. So let's go back to the story. As we discussed already, that Hashem Elohim first made Adam in one place. He formed Adam, let's say, and then he formed Eden in another place. And then they put them together, which reminds us the story of fertilization. The egg is fertilized in one place, it activates the uterus in another place, and then the egg, fertilized egg, end up in the uterus, and Adam and the embryo start to grow. So that story really matches what we know from science about the growth of the embryo. So Eden is like a heavenly embryo that's a cradle of mankind, as we say. And that's important. We see the importance of that to what kind of conclusion we derive from that. Is there any conclusion? So as soon as you put there, the Torah says Adam was put there to till it and to preserve it. Le'ovda u'leshamra. Of course, Eden didn't have to, it was not a real garden, you have to till it and walk it. But it is a metaphor, as the Rabbi said, for keeping commandment. What commandment? Positive commandment and negative commandment. Positive commandment, what you should do, and negative commandment, what you should not do. And we discussed it last time. We asked, well, all the 6 commandments of Adam, adultery, bloodshed, theft, dinim, all of them, if not most of them, are basically negative. You should not worship idols. You should not commit adultery. What is a positive part about that? But the Torah says there is a positive aspect too. Indeed, if you think about it, the 6 commandments of Noahide are not just negative commandment prohibition. I heard it so many times in the past, in convention and classes, that, the Noahide commandment only negative. We Israel have a positive commandment. We take the lulav, we build the sukkah, we do something. But for the Noahide is only negative. How wrong this approach is. Because, as we discussed it last time, it's a foolish approach. Because behind every negative commandment, there is a huge positive aspect. Let's say idolatry. It's a huge attempt, it's a huge commandment in terms of you have to control your attraction and your imagination and not to follow the idols. So you have to invest positive energy to stand the attraction of the idols. And idols can be alcohol, drugs, and everything, political party. So a lot of idols are attracting you, attracting us, and we have to invest a lot of positive power to stand them. Not only that, we need to invest positive power to worship Hashem, to recognize Hashem, to learn. That's also part of the commandment. It's not enough not to worship idols. It's also part of it is to recognize God and worship Him. Only that it's not for Noahide, it's not the positive side. It's derived logically, and it's not given in a term of positives. The Torah doesn't say you should invest effort to stand the idol. You should do the. When it comes to those basic commandments, it's enough for the Torah to state it a negative, and the positive side, which is an enormous part of the commandment, is self-implied. You derive it, you understand it by yourself. So we now understand what the Torah says Adam was put in Eden to preserve it and to till it, to do positive and negative aspect of. Now the question is, what kind of commandment he was given in Eden? So the first commandment is here. As soon as he was made, to keep it running. So as soon as that's the book I want to show some readers. You can see the classes of idolatry either on the internet free of charge. They are available to everyone. If you want a hard copy, go to Amazon and get this book. We're going to publish an edition, another additional version of that. Now, here is the first commandment ever that mankind got from Hashem. It's a commandment in the term of you should do, you should avoid. In terms of, we'll see in a minute what sort of commandment is it. So Hashem says to Hashem Elohim, let's say, because the two cherubs, the whole chapter of idolatry is written under the two cherubs side by side. You never find anything like that in the rest of the Torah. Because if it's a birth of Adam, and the two, like mother and father, let's say, figuratively, lying together with love, making Adam. So Hashem Elohim commanded the Adam, now Adam is there, saying, of every tree of the garden you should eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you should not eat of it. For the day of eat of it, you shall die. Everybody understands, you know the story about the commandment by heart, but not everybody understands the evil here. We dedicated the whole class of it, like 3 weeks ago. What is evil in the Torah? In the eyes of Hashem. What Hashem hates, that's evil. And it can be many things, we'll see in a minute. But the tree is a knowledge of good and evil, Ra. It's never in the eyes of Elohim. So if you eat it, you shall die. Of course, Adam doesn't know what death is. He's like a child telling him, the parents telling him, don't, Johnny, don't touch the ivory in the garden, because if you touch it, you get allergy. The child doesn't know what allergy is, but he trusts his parents. So this is either advice or what kind of a commandment is it? It can be an advice from the parent, father in heaven, or mother in heaven. But since it's one, we call it father in heaven. Or it can be a command from a king also. I don't need to understand the logic of the king. I just trust my king and I obey by his command. So that commandment is given either by Father in heaven or by our King King of the universe. Why I'm saying it? Because Rosh Hashanah, which is a rehearsal of the story, Rosh Hashanah holiday is the anniversary of Adam creation on 6 days 6. So the story of Adam creation, through the day of Rosh Hashanah, and 10 days after that, until Yom Kippur, we don't refer to God as Hashem alone, or Elohim alone, or Adonai, but our Father, Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King. That's typical for Rosh Hashanah holiday. So he's our Father in heaven, and our King. It means also that every human is a child of a son or daughter of God. You don't have to be any special character to be called a son of God. Okay? That's once for all. Now, so what kind of commandment is it? If Adam obeys it and he doesn't touch it, he doesn't eat for it, he abide by his Father in heaven and advise or the King of the universe command. That's beautiful. If he fails, he rejects the God command or the Father command. How we can categorize rejection or denial or rebellion of a God command? This is a sort of idolatry. When I say idolatry in Eden, Adam will never, I don't expect Adam to bow to stone and wood or to take drugs. Okay? So on his level, the only kind of idolatry that he could perform in Eden was simply not listening to God. That rebellion against the Father and our Father King in heaven, that's enough to call him a violator of idolatry on his level. So we can categorize, without going into detail now of what the trees and what, but just the format of it, or the form of it is telling him not to do, and if he fails, he has committed rebellion or rejection of God, which is a tantamount to idolatry on that level. Now, beside that commandments, soon after that, Adam walk around. He give names. He's smart, but Hashem Elohim, his parents, notice that he's lonely, and they form him the woman. Again, without going into detail, just for our consideration today, we notice that immediately, as woman is formed, immediately come another command. Therefore, because it says immediately after, therefore, man leaves his father and his mother, cleaves to his wife, and they become one flesh. It's a simple statement, but it's not. It's a commandment. Hashem should leave his father, his father wife, and his father mother sexually, and his mother and his daughter, and her mother and aunt. So leave them alone sexually, and his own daughter and granddaughter. So the all six classical sexual prohibitions are here. For Noahide, and cleave to his wife, which is mean not another person's wife. Wow, here is a Torah hold or announces the institution of marriage. So immediately with adultery, there is a pronouncement of this. Hashem, the Torah sanctioned here the institution of marriage, which people are not aware of it. I know that many, even Rabbi, I'm sorry, they think that marriage is only for his Jews. It's true, a certain aspect of marriage are typical for Jews. That's nothing to do with this story here. Like 1 year before the marriage, there is a kiddushin and so on. That's rabbinical. But from a Torah perspective, any man and a woman, you don't have to go to a clerk. You don't have to vow. Any man and a woman get together for the sake of marriage, they are married. And if they betray each other, they are guilty of adultery. If there's no marriage, there's no adultery. Excuse me. How can you claim that Noahide don't have marriage? Whereas they are liable for adultery if they transgress the marriage, violate it. And they become one flesh, a prohibition of homosexuality, because you can cohabit only if you can make one flesh, one boy, you can recreate another human being, and one flesh, one is Hashem, also marriage. Hashem is the one is Hashem in a marriage. Also, it's a prohibition of homosexuality and bestiality. So all the aspects of adultery and marriage and sexual promiscuity, all that are here. So we got 2 commandments in Eden. They need to abide by. So the question is now, if you think about it, chapter 1 shows you idolatry. Only one commandment is given in chapter 1, idolatry. When God speaks in plural, open up the door for idolatry. And the whole chapter 1 is about it. We spent 20 classes just to touch the surface of it. Chapter 1. Now, and no other commandment is mentioned. Now here, we got 2 commandments in Eden, and no other commandment is mentioned. Yes, the Talmud said that they were potentially given. Number 3, bloodshed, and theft, and dinim, justice. But those commandments could not be violated in Eden. There's no meaning in Eden. Whereas those 2, idolatry and adultery, could be violated in Eden. They had relevance to Eden. That's why in Eden, you have only 2, and the rest of them are not relevant. Chapter 1 speaks only one person, the creation of Adam, and before there was even Eve around. So the question, so again, we'll come to the question. We understand now that the Torah goes from 1 to 2, then it goes to bloodshed with a Cain and Abel and Noah. Bloodshed, you need at least 3. It's rare to think about men, husband and wife killing each other, but it's when it comes to nascent family, like Adam and Eve had, well, a brother can kill each other. So it is like less than family, small family, to have a bloodshed, meaningful bloodshed. And then it goes to Abraham and theft. Theft is much larger community. Theft means also slavery and so on. That relates to larger communities, not just family. And then dinim, justice, of course, it's society. So the Torah, if you look at it, the Torah goes from 1 person to 2 persons in Eden to 3 at least in bloodshed, and at least then 4 or larger in theft, and so on. So the Torah, you can say the Torah climbs here on how wide the commandment is, how to whom does it apply, to 1, 2, or more people. As humanity evolved, the commandment become more meaningful. That's one explanation, but there is another more deeper explanation. Why the Torah bother to give us a story, those commandments through that story in such a way? Ask yourself, why doesn't the Torah give us a list, like 10 commandments? Here are the list of Adam's 6 commandments. Adultery, bloodshed. This is 1, 2, 3, like a 10 commandments. Why does the Torah bother to run through these long stories of throughout the whole book of Genesis, from one commandment to another commandment, to present us the commandment in such a way, because you know that you can understand the meaning, the answer right away. Because in this way, we got more information that we get from a list. If I look at the idolatry now, it's from chapter 1, wow, it's a huge story. And I look at the same way, if the Torah decided to present the two of them here, idolatry combined with adultery, in one package, there is a message here. So what is the message of the Torah here that she intertwined, she presents the two commandments intertwined, like in one package, one story. Idolatry with the tree, and adultery with Eve, with the serpent, the snake. So what is it behind it? What is the logic of the Torah? We have to try to understand that. So to understand it, we need to go to creation of Adam, as it described here. We read the secret is here of the story. Because if we call the story of Eden, the story of Adam formation, so Adam was formed, we discussed it last time, when Hashem Elohim formed Adam as a dust, as a dust from the ground, and he blew in his nostril, in oneness, he blew his nostril, into his nostril the soul of his neshama, and Adam became a nefesh chaya, a living creature. We discussed it at length in the last class, that it's like a glass blower blowing his breath into the tube, and a part close to, or far away from Hashem's mouth. Hashem's mouth is here. Far away down the tube is Chaya, which is responsible for our element of life, every cell in us, the DNA, which we share with all the creatures, all the living creatures, viruses, bacteria, even single cell creature. Every creature who have at least some mechanism of life is controlled by this Chaya. Chaya means life. Nefesh, classically, is the big portion. It controls a larger animal that have organs like us. And the Neshama is close to Hashem lips here. So the Nefesh and the Chaya control our bodily instinct and functions. Neshama is divine. In Chabad call the Nefesh and Chaya is a part that they call it animalistic soul, because it controls what we share with the animal or bacteria, Nefesh and Chaya. Neshama is what the Chabad would call heavenly soul, a Nefesh Elokit. That's book of the Tanya, based on that. So you have a divine soul, Nefesh Elokit, animalistic soul, which is this two part control our animalistic drive and functions. The story is that there is a struggle here. Each of those souls try to take control our body and our entire soul. the nefesh and the chaya, which is the animalistic part, try to get larger, to get stronger, to push us to indulge in mundane things, to seek pleasure of the day of the flesh. It's not that it's forbidden, but to indulge in it, in a passion. The nefesh and chaya try to overcome, to control your whole body. And the more you indulge yourself in sins of the flesh, like adultery and idolatry by drug and alcohol and all that, the more you do that, you enforce the animalistic neshama on account of the heavenly neshama. So she shrieks, and that one part take control of you. That's Chabad teaching. It's also Sfat Emet teaching. So on the otherwise is also true. The more you allow Hashem to enter your heart, the more you learn Torah. It's not that you go to a monastery and you shut yourself off from the world, Chas v'Chalila, but you avoid indulging, and you're being careful not to violate idolatry by enslaving yourself to all kinds of idols, modern idols. So, if you avoid that and you support and you subject yourself and you engage yourself more and more with Torah learning and thinking, then the neshama become larger and larger, and she controls your body. What's the difference when you finally go? Your time comes and you go, and the neshama goes up. Depends what that part of the neshama, how strong she is. If you made her very strong, she will ascend back to her source and to sit by the heavenly throne higher than ever before. This is a cycle of neshama. That's why she came here. She didn't want to come here, but Hashem promised her, my daughter, that only if you want to elevate yourself, only through Adam. So every one of us, according to that teaching, should look into our own soul and have pity on it. If you want to support your soul, follow Hashem, follow the Torah, resist the idols of all kinds. Then you enforce your neshama, and she goes up to sit like a precious stone by the throne. So now I understand that by following adultery, by following the prohibition of adultery, and by avoiding idolatry, the two only one, the commandments that were given to Adam in Eden, those two will help him to go higher. Because Adam wasn't put there to stay there. He wanted to go higher and higher in Eden itself, and also maybe in the world to come. We are actually forbidden to go into too detail what is after death and all. That's beyond our discussion. Our discussion is what to do. And we understand now that the purpose of the commandment at large, not only those two, but every commandment. The purpose of every commandment is to help us support, to help us fight our temptations, and to make our neshama stronger and pure, so she can go up higher than ever before. Now, if Adam fails, he said, I need to find a solution for that nagging. I know I can do that. I just put a command that it won't come. To stay, the screen should stay longer. Okay, now, if Adam, let's see what happened. That's very important, what I'm going to say now. In Eden, Adam had a body, a virtual body, an airy body, airy coat for the neshama. Airy, I mean, it's called kutnot o, the aleph vav reish. Kutnot o, the shirt of light. So he had a coat covering his neshama. He needed a thin one that covered his neshama, because the Torah says Hashem blew his breath into his body. So that body in the world of Eden, in the universe of Eden, is the thin coat, airy coat that sheltered Adam and Neshama. On earth, and this was Adam. Only Adam had only to do commandment. The two commandments would help him to fight against the attraction. Each code, the code actually present the flesh, the color that we cover us, present some desires that are associated with the flesh and existence. So in Eden, we could say the sexual drive and a drive to resist God is ego. So those two inner drive come from this body that Adam had in Eden. The body produced desire. Okay, or desires are part of the body. In Eden, Adam had this too. But on earth, as the Torah says, we discussed it last time, as Adam failed in Eden trial, and he was driven out of Eden, immediately before he was driven out, Torah says that Hashem made him, not formed, not created, but made them, Adam and Eve, made them a coat of skin. What a verse. How beautiful it's located, just as they're losing Eden. On the way to earth, they got now those airy coat that they had before are now replaced or coated over, if you want, with skin. What the Torah calls skin is our outer physical body. Turn out that we have like an onion, we have the one shell, outer shell of physical body that we carry, that produces its own desires and attractions. It has its own neshama and chaya controlling it and producing its own their own desire. Desires now on earth to kill, to commit, to steal, something they couldn't do in Eden. In Eden, you couldn't kill, you couldn't steal. There was no private ownership. There was no, under the tree of life, nobody died. But on earth, now they can. And they can do it with passion, with attraction. With the attraction of this, that produced by this skin, by our body desires When I say body, skin, I mean include all our physical being, including my desires to control, my anger, my desire to be rich, to be known, to have an impact, to increase my ego. So, and for that, the rest of the 6 Adam commandments were activated. On earth, once they are on earth, all the 6 are applied. Whereas in Eden, only the first 2 could be applied. So now on earth, we have now harder work to improve our neshama. We have to overcome that new attractions produced by our natural being, which push us to do anything that our bodily want, and to indulge in them, and to make him very strong. The stronger, the more indulge with them, we push away the neshama from us. So now we have much more work to do, but the innermost part of what we have in Eden, we still carry it. Where hidden in the innermost part of our being, in that heavenly, in that airy coat that we still carry in our neshama from Eden, it's still hidden in us. So those 2 commandments, and that's the crux of our presentation today. Those 2 commandments are deeply, deeply embedded in our soul. Very hard to erase it, to eradicate them. You can fight all the attraction. You can see people they don't kill anyone. They don't steal from anyone. They don't commit injustice. They're honest people. And they are good in society. They contribute everything. And judges and contribute to society. Good people. Yet, how often they fail when it comes to those inner 2, sex drive and the ego, a drive to rule over, that embedded in us from Eden. And that's the story of Eden, to tell us that man, know that inside you, there are 2 attractions, that are 2 sins that are so, that to commit them, that the attraction to do them are so strong. Pay attention to them. Because these are the primordial sins that we carry out from Eden, as opposed to the rest of them. The rest of them we don't take care from Eden. The bloodshed, the stealing, injustice, it's after Adam and Eve came on earth in a natural way. We can fight with them, but we don't forget that inside us, it's the 2 more difficult to eradicate are these 2, and you will not eradicate them unless you turn to Hashem. Unless you turn to Hashem and ask for help. And you do, and you commit yourself to the two commandments. Then you enforce your own soul, innermost soul, and you will win. And when you come to heaven, the neshama will shine. That's the story. So that's why the story of Eden is set apart. Because the 2 commandments are apart, are more difficult to resist. The sin is more difficult to resist. Even David, and so on. The most righteous people on earth, they can fail in those two. Those 2. both the ego and the adultery. Only Moses was a modest. He could control his ego perfect. And he married seeing God. So those two are primordial sins. I think I'll stop here. In the next class, I would want to, God willing, is to continue the story and to see really what happened. How did Adam and Eve really fail? What happened really? What was the story? What does it tell us? The serpent and all that. We need to understand it too. Any questions for me?